Let us continue the research about the Golden Woman and this very strange idol. And let us look at the other aspects and legends of Zolotaya Baba. Now we must go to the Vikings. Thorir the Hound was a Viking and a well-known leader in his time, and most likely the first person to give the account of the Golden Woman in the West. He led the attack on the shores of the White Sea in the year 1023 AD. He discovered the ancient name of the Golden Woman, Jumala. Apparently, this well-known leader was unsettled by reports about the idol. Jumala, he learned, was located in remote forest, placed on a hill, and the ground around the idol was full of treasures and riches. The ground of the hill beneath Jumala was mixed with golden coins. Obviously, he became very interested, but now we must leave him and go on to Finland and talk about Kalevala. Kalevala is the Finnish and Karelian national epic compiled from ancient oral poetry. It consists of the old Finnish ballads and lyrical songs depicting the sons of Kalevala. In Kalevala, there are wonderful tales of the gods of Finland, the gods of air and water, of fire and forest, of heaven and the earth, just as the deities that we spoke in the previous video about in the Geographical legends. Jumala is the queen of the underworld in Kalevala. Stag, horse, is the favorite animal of Jumala. Kalevala is the mythical kingdom where most of the epic takes place. It is similar to Kalama of the Sumerians. As we remember, Inanna abandoned the Imu Kalama in Bat Tibira and descended to the underworld in the Sumerian legends or mythology. And this is yet another connection with the amazing land of the ancient Sumer and its mythology and the Golden Woman. It is curious that the symbol of the cosmos and the mother of the sun were represented as a horse in the Hungarian mythology. There are also links to both in the Finnish epic Kalevala and the Sumerian tablets containing the Sumerian creation myth that can be traced to Hungarian legends. Alexandra Guagnini, the Italian who authored description of this European Sarmatia in 1578, described the worship of the Golden Woman. Besides the sacrificial furs, the idol was also presented with animal sacrifices. The choicest deer were slaughtered and their blood used to smear the idol's mouth and eyes. Then, a short time later, all of the blood mysteriously disappeared. Guagnini wondered if the dead idol drank it all. Yet, was the Golden Woman dead? Apparently the idol responded to inquiries with incorrect answers and issued accurate predictions. Another European world traveler, a German spy, was actually an eyewitness who, according to at least one account, saw the Golden Woman talk and even shriek. He was Baron Zygmunt von Herberstein, who visited Russia in 1517, and then 10 years later, again. He published the book Remor Moscovicarum Commentarii in Vienna in 1549. The author was a capable and keen observer of Russia. Herberstein presented a great description of the tribes who lived in the lands east of the Ural Mountains. However, the Baron also wrote that the accounts of the Golden Woman were translated from the Russian descriptions brought to him. He tried to find those who had actually seen the paranormal developments in the reports that he received, but he could not find a single person who actually did. So he left the analysis to others. He did comment that the Golden Woman statue must have had hollow areas inside it, and that the wind would cause shriek-like sounds while blowing through them. Anthony Jenningson was an English merchant and adventurer who traveled to Russia from 1557 to 1560. Jenkinson's journeyed from Arkhangelsk to Moscow, where he had the pleasure to meet with Tsar Ivan the Terrible. Later he sailed the Volga River and the Caspian Sea to Bukhara, one of the cities of the ancient Oriental Silk Road. He returned to England in 1560, where he compiled detailed accounts of his expeditions, and he prepared a large-scale map on 4 sheets, which was first published in London in 1562. A land called Ugria was shown to be located in the lower end of the river Ob. The accompanying illustration depicted Ugrans who knelt in front of a female idol, and not, according to an Estonian scientist, located and in his report located in Tallinn, Estonia, clarified the image. Zlata Baba is the golden dame of the Obians, zealously worshipped by the Ugrans. This idol is consulted by the priest as to what they must do or where they must go, and she, that miracle oracle, gives answers to some that seek her counsel, and certain consequences follow. In all fairness, it is important to present the Estonian scientist's opinion about the Golden Woman from the same publication. In actual fact, no European has ever seen that idol, and most probably it never existed in the described form, as a full-length woman made of gold. Grounds for that kind of rumors were provided by the Ob-Ugrian folklore, where the Kaltesh Ekva is usually described as golden. Already in the year 1032 AD, Russians regarded the Mansi as enemies, and the Novgorod city warriors unsuccessfully raided them. There have been other bloody conflicts between the Russians and the Ob-Ugric people throughout the centuries. Tatars, too, attacked the Ob-Ugric tribes and waged war against them. Beginning with the 15th century, the Great Novgorod Republic, and later in the 16th century, the Muscovite state had already intruded upon the Ob-Ugric people and their territories, and founded distant trade towns. Hanti, together with the Mansi, numbered approximately 16,000, at the time when the population of Muscovite Russia was most likely to be about 10 million people. And then Siberia was adjoined to the Muscovite state after a legendary and bloody campaign of Yermak Timofeyevich, the Ataman or chieftain. He was the leader of Vataga, or band of independent Russian Cossacks, and spent his early years plundering the Tsar's ships on the Volga River. Later, he entered the service of the wealthy and legendary merchant family, the Stroganovs. The Stroganovs sent Yermak on an expedition to protect their lands in western Siberia from attacks by local tribes. But he was much more than a mere security official. Yermak became a conqueror of huge territories. The Russian Cossacks quickly penetrated eastward by land and on river boats. They built a chain of small fortresses and placed a levy on the native population. They wanted precious furs. In 1582, Yermak sent a small group of the Cossacks downward along the Irtysh River. The group under Bogdan Bryaska command passed the lands of the Konda Voguls and approached the town of Samarova. The Ostyaki, or as we know already, the Ob-Ugrians, overtaken by the sudden attack of the Russian Cossacks, had to retreat. Samar, the prince of the local principality, was killed, but Yermak's Cossacks were unable to conquer the town of Han Nimun. A local Chuvash, who spied for the Cossacks, was sent there on a reconnaissance mission. When he returned, he said that he was able to observe how the Ostyaki worshipped the Golden Woman. The idol was standing on a tray full of water. The warriors of the town drank this water and swore their allegiance to defend their holiest object, the Golden Woman. The Kazakhs understood that the statue was valuable, and they tripled their efforts to conquer the town. When they succeeded, the golden woman was gone. How did the idol come to the town in the first place? If, as far as we know, it was kept in a remote forest. Much could have happened in the 5 centuries after Thorir the Hound, the respected Viking, described the idol. The Kazakhs were practical people, and the natives were tortured to reveal the secret of the golden woman's whereabouts. The response that the Kazakhs were able to obtain after torturing them was that Jumala departed on a cloud. And then came the vengeance of the goddess. The legendary Yermak died. He was wounded and drowned in the river, pulled down by his heavy armor. The Kazakhs whispered that a vengeful goddess killed their ataman. So after his coat of mail was discovered, they sent it to the Jumala's treasure house. How they knew where it was, I'm not sure. I don't have the details. However, the Russian troops retook the territory in 1586. No evidence exists today about the treasure hound of the Siberian idol. To be sure, it is most likely that neither the European travelers nor the Russian Empire builders had ever seen the idol. Certainly, there have been other references to the Golden Woman in the medieval Russia and Eastern Europe, but none so dramatic. After Western Siberia became part of the Russian Empire, the destruction of the idols continued. Heathen beliefs were to be eradicated throughout the land, and so the idols and spiritual items were burned in the 18th century. Between the years of 1714 and 1722, the Mansi had been converted to the Russian Orthodoxy. Peter the Great, the Russian emperor, directed that those who resisted to be converted were to be killed. Such important symbols of the Obi-Ugric religion as the Old Man of Ob and the idol's hidden temple were burned down. The idol, however, was destroyed back in the 16th century by the Kazakh conquerors, according to the Russian historian Olga Astafyeva. They used the cannon to shoot it to pieces in 1585. There was another idol, the golden goose of the Troitskaya village. It was crushed and thrown into the river. Other idols were burned and crosses were placed at the sites of the Obi-Ugric sacred sanctuaries. Russian Orthodox churches were built throughout the land. But despite Russian imperial campaigns against native beliefs and idols, Jumala, or the Golden Woman, had survived. At the end of 1892, the famous Russian Ural explorer Konstantin Nasilov traveled to the Konda river to learn traditions and to study life of the Voguls. He was accompanied by his relative Infantiev. They sailed on in a tiny and rather tight boat, but they had a wonderful time visiting the locals in their huts and learning about them. Those huts were full of ticks and fleas, but this fact did not diminish the enthusiasm of the Russian explorers. Infantiev was so taken with this ethnography that later he traveled throughout Russia and wrote many books about its people and tribes. He had deep impressions about the land of the Voguls and published an interesting story in 1892 in Yekaterinburg, the town we already mentioned, titled The Shaman's Sorcery. Now, in 1904, Nasilov, while traveling in the upper reaches of Konda, met an old blind man named Sava. The old man was blinded years before, during his colorful youth. Sava did not go into specific details about his ordeals, yet he said enough for Nasilov to grasp that the old man saw something that was forbidden for him to see. Finally, Sava relented and told the Russian traveler about the Golden Woman, adding that being very old he would die soon anyway. And he told the following story. Now, here's what he said. There is nothing extraordinary about her. She is just a naked woman. She is sitting down, and she is very beautiful, as a woman ought to be. She is holding either a bowl or a plate in her hands, but the object is turned upside down. But maybe it is not a plate. Think about this description. Now, no other witness came forward since that year to tell about the golden woman. Storm clouds were gathering over Russia in the beginning of the 20th century, and years later, very destructive developments took over the land. It is not known if the golden woman was destroyed in the turbulent times or if the statue was somehow saved. The Ob-Ugrians have been living in the exceptionally harsh climate of Siberia and far north for thousands of years. Theirs was an ecological traditional culture, most fit for these conditions, but neither this fragile culture nor the legendary mythological golden woman could resist their imperial expansion and the accompanying technological civilization that took over their land. Valentin Krapila, the Ukrainian researcher, believed that the sacred golden woman of Yugra is still hidden away somewhere in the area of Yugra. He mentioned obscure expeditions to the land of Yugra with the specific purpose to find the golden woman. But there are no records of such expeditions, which is not surprising, because the mission and the goal would not be to bring the statue to a national museum. The Ukrainian researchers suppose that the golden woman is actually helping the Ob-Ugric people to hide her presence from the prying eyes. In 1962, an interesting piece of information about the statue attracted attention of Krapila. That year, an elderly Russian hunter, Anton Kadulin, revealed a tale told him by a Mansi. The Mansi claimed that no one would ever find the Zolotaya Baba. He added that there is a tiny island among the taiga, dense forest swamps. It is possible to reach it through the marshes, but no one knows the way there. However, there is one Vorga, reindeer trail, to the island. One can find it by reading the Katnos, secret signs. One of the signs is this: an arrow crossed by two other arrows. Is there such an island among the swamps of the dark taiga or the desolate Ural mountain? Do the Menkwi guard the Churosnai Anki, the golden woman of Yugra, the one who is holding a saucer-shaped object in her hands and is able to give correct answers and predict the outcome of human affairs? Is there anyone who is able to service the guardians and the statue, to update their programs, change their past? Or is it just all a myth from a faraway land? Maybe one day the Ob-Ugrians and Mansi will still discover their ancient golden woman hidden away in some remote and forgotten corner of the Siberian taiga, or between the two hard-to-reach mountains of the Urals. Or maybe they know where she is and don't want others to. But such a discovery by scientists could lead us to solve the ancient riddles of Minoan Crete, Sumer, China, and a very strange case of 9 young men and women who perished in the Ural Mountains in 1959. The last surviving member of the Dyatlov team died in 2013 and was buried in the Mikhailovskaya cemetery in the city of Ekaterinburg. The other members of the team were buried in the same cemetery. Yuri Yudin became ill in 1959 and was not able to join the team in their last journey that February. He always wanted to be the 10th member of the Dyatlov team, and now he forever is. Yudin was sad for the rest of his days, because he was not with his friends that fateful day in February, and for the rest of his life he tried to solve the mystery of their deaths. This is what I know about the Golden Woman, and there is a little bit more information that I'm looking into, and when I have more details, I'll share them with you. Thank you.